I'm Craig Zaffe. I'm the CEO of Hemp for Life Wellness, Inc., and welcome to our podcast, Everything CBD and More. I'm here with my good friend Reginald Grant. He's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, so we're a bi-coastal podcast. Now, today's podcast is going to be about marijuana. Exactly. What is marijuana? Why does it get you high? And where did it all begin? So I'm going to give you a little bit of history about marijuana. First of all, marijuana is a member of the cannabis family. Now, cannabis is made up of hemp and marijuana. It's been used for the history of mankind, for medicine, spiritual guidance, and just feeling good. Now, basically in China, it was used for various medical conditions, for gout, for asthma, for pain, for stress, for cancer, many other ailments. And up to 1937, it was the most prescribed medication. So marijuana was used throughout the history of mankind as medicine. Now, that all changed in 1937 when they made it illegal. And that's a whole nother story. And moving forward, what exactly is marijuana and why does it get you high? Now, marijuana basically is found in the cannabis plant, and the substance is THC. Now, THC stands for delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinoid. And what this does is interacts with our own body's system, the endocannabinoid system, which we spoke many times about. It's the largest regulatory system in our bodies, and it's in charge of the homeostasis, balance, of maternal health. So marijuana interacts with our receptors. We have CB1 receptors and CB2 receptors, but it mainly interacts with the CB1 receptor. It's like a lock and a key. A receptor is the lock. Marijuana is the key. So what happens is when you partake in marijuana, it interacts with the CBD1 receptor, which releases dopamine, which gets you high. So that's the difference between marijuana and CBD from hemp, because CBD from hemp only has 0.3% THC, so you get the medicinal benefits without getting the psychotropic effects of marijuana. Now, marijuana is becoming very prevalent in the United States and worldwide. We have legalized medicinal marijuana, and we're opening up recreational marijuana. Now, basically, the difference between medicinal marijuana and recreational marijuana is percentage of THC. Now, they've done a lot of research over the years, because when I first started smoking back in the 70s, there were only a few different varieties that you could partake in. They were known as land races, so you could get something from Mexico, Colombia, Thailand, Hawaii. Those are all basically sativas. Now, marijuana is classified in two different classifications. You have sativas, which grows in the tropics. It's more narrow leaf in appearance. Also, the effects on the body is much more uplifting. It's more of a daytime variety to use. Also, it's great for dancing, meditation, artistic endeavors. In fact, they say that the cavemen partook in marijuana, and that's why we have paintings in the caves, because they were inspired by using marijuana in their lifestyle. And then we have cannabis indica, which grows in the Hindu Kush regions, Nepal, India, Pakistan, and it's a very short, squatty plant with fat leaves, and it's much more a body effect, and it's very good for pain and sleeping. So these are things you have to know if you're going to decide what variety you want to use, since nowadays there's over 5,000 different varieties. So most people really don't understand the difference between the varieties. You also have the terpene expressions in the varieties, and terpenes are essential oils, have very medicinal benefits. It's like lavender is very soothing. If you open up an orange and you smell the lemon, well, the orange, it's lemonine, which also is very uplifting, a lot of medicinal benefits. So there's an awful lot of parts to marijuana. So these are things that are very important to know. And since for the last 40 years, there have been a tremendous amount of breeding, making more and more potent varieties, the higher THC variety. Now, the higher the THC, the higher your anxiety rates go up. So that's why they started to grow more CBD-rich varieties, because CBD is a natural neutralizer with too much THC. So that's the difference usually with medicinal marijuana, is you go to dispensaries, they're more CBD-rich varieties, so you get more of the medicinal benefits without the overall psychotropic effects. And we all know is, a lot of people have smoked their whole lives. The varieties nowadays are extremely potent. So what happens if they partake? All of a sudden, they're very uncomfortable. They're very stressed out. Their anxiety rate is off the charts. And not having a very good experience. Now, if you incorporate CBD-rich varieties, you get more of the medicinal benefits, which, again, marijuana can help in so many different health-related conditions, everywhere from asthma, AIDS, ADS, cancer, leukemia, women's issues, certainly helps the menstrual period. If you're on chemotherapy, helps you with the nausea and the diarrhea associated. A lot of our soldiers coming back from the war have a lot of PTSD. It just calms them down. So these are all important things you have to realize, that all marijuana is not made equal. So depending upon the condition you want to deal with, depends upon what varieties you have. Now, years ago, you had two different varieties. You had sativa, indica. That all changed in the 70s, where people on this side of the tracks started to travel to the Middle East. They brought back seeds. They started to grow hybrids. So it's very hard to find a pure sativa variety or pure indica varieties. It's more of a mixture of both. So knowing that, you have to realize what you're buying. So if you go to dispensaries, you have to have very important questions when you speak to the budman, who's the guy behind the counter, who's going to be recommending different varieties to you. So first you have to explain to them what medical condition you have. And then they can decide what variety is good for you. And less is more, because marijuana is very potent nowadays. So I believe it's important that you start off very small. And it may take you a few times of using different varieties to find out what works best for you, depending upon your condition. Also, as we know, since the potency is very strong, a lot of people have very adverse reactions. Now, there's certain things that you can do to neutralize those reactions. Like I said before, CBD from hemp is a neutralizer for too much THC. It nudges the THC off the CB1 receptor, just lowers your anxieties so you can take a breath. Lemonade, which has lemon C in it, which is a terpene, is also very calming. Black pepper also. Even a glass of milk will help you just catch your breath so you're not in an uncomfortable position. So these are important things that you should know. Also, where should you use it? I was always brought up by my mother, the best place to do anything is in your own house. And I truly believe most people should just partake in marijuana in their own house. And if you're going out, just make sure you're in a very safe surroundings. If you're going to a concert, going to a picnic, just be smart about it. Now, there's also different delivery systems, how to get the marijuana in your body. Now, most of us are aware about smoking a pipe full or rolling a joint. Now they have vaping. They have vape pipes. Every different variety, you can get a cartridge where you just vape. Vaping is not for everybody. Then you have gummies, which is very easy to take. It's like just eating a regular piece of candy. Then they have edibles where they infuse brownies, cookies. Edibles is a whole different ball game. When you smoke, initially, you can feel the effects in a matter of moments. An edible has to go through your digestive system, and it goes through changes and becomes more potent. And people have, a tendency not to be patient. Truly, it takes an hour and a half to 2 hours for you to feel the effects of the THC when you do an edible. Most people don't have the patience. They'll have a half a brownie, and 20 minutes later, I don't feel anything. I'm going to have the other half of brownie. An hour later, it kicks in, and all of a sudden, they're overwhelmed. They're totally discombobulated. They want to just go to bed, curl up in the fetal position, or sometimes they call 911. So you have to be very cautious when you do edibles. And certainly, I don't recommend doing edibles in the outside world because of these factors. And also, dosing is a problem because they may say it's 100 milligrams of THC in a chocolate bar, but it's not spread out throughout the whole chocolate bar. So you can take, a half a chocolate bar and think you're only getting 25 or 50 milligrams of THC, but really you're getting 75 milligrams of THC, which is too overwhelming for most people who are novices. I mean, if you've been around the block a few times, some people can consume copious amounts of THC, but most people can't. So you have to use common sense. Choose your place of ingesting wisely, because the whole benefit of using marijuana is medicinal, feeling good, coming in touch with yourself, and then you can enjoy the experience. But if you don't do your research, you think more THC is better, I think you're in for a big surprise because you're not going to have a very pleasurable experience. So the whole goal here is to make sure that you're smart about using marijuana. And it's not for kids. It should be for 21 years and older. And everybody reacts differently to the marijuana. Some people, they have one toke, and they're good to go. Other people, they have to use copious amounts to get the same feeling as the other person who gets on one toke. And also, depending upon your medical condition, certain varieties are better. So if you're in a lot of pain, you can't sleep, you want an indica variety, because indica will help you with your pain, has the right terpene profile, will help you sleep, and just relieve your symptoms. If you want to go out and have a good time, listen to jazz music, sativa is recommended. It's more uplifting, but you also have to realize sativa is very potent too. You have, if you have too much sativa, you can have a problem with your heart racing. Your mind is just running rampant. You can't catch your breath. So again, more CBD-rich varieties are really the only way to go. If you're looking just to get smashed, you're not even going to listen to what I'm saying. You're just going to want to get stupid. And we don't want you to get stupid. We want to give cannabis a good name since it is medicine and it's been used for the history of mankind. And it's very important that we respect that plant because it's an incredible plant with so many different uses. And certainly the choice between using pharmaceuticals with all the side effects that go on forever. I mean, when you see the TV commercials, you forgot the condition you have and all the side effects. Either you want to commit suicide, you're going to have a heart attack, and everything else, where marijuana has a very good safety profile. No one has ever overdosed on marijuana. Most people who use opiates, there's a receptor in the base of our brain that controls our breathing. We don't have any receptors at the base of our brain for cannabis, so you don't have to worry about overdosing. You do have to worry about partaking in too much, but that's where the education comes in, that less is more. So I think it's very important that people realize marijuana is a viable option for people to use to treat their conditions out there. There's more and more research being done by the medical profession and doctors showing the benefits of incorporating marijuana in your life. So I think it's very important that the science is behind the plant and we can make educated decisions when and if you want to start using marijuana as a medical alternative to pharmaceuticals. So I hope everybody got a little bit of information. I highly recommend everybody do a little bit of research. You'll realize that the safety profile is wonderful. Most people can benefit from using marijuana in their lifestyle, but again, it's not for everybody. And that's where CBDs come in from hemp. You get all the medicinal benefits without the psychotropic effects. But some people want the psychotropic effects. Doesn't make you a bad person, but just be educated about when you start want to incorporate marijuana in your life. So I want to thank everybody for listening to me. I want to thank Athletes in Cannabis for being my sponsor. I certainly want to thank my good friend Reggie Grant for allowing me the time to talk. And I encourage everybody, get educated. Don't listen to your friends. Get educated so you make the right decision if you choose to incorporate cannabis in your lifestyle. Once again, I'm Craig Zaffe. I'm the CEO of Hemp for Life Wellness, Inc. And again, I want to thank Athletes in Cannabis and my good friend Reggie Grant allowing me this time to talk to you about marijuana and how it can help you with your medical conditions. And if you want to just chill, it's a wonderful way just to chill. It's much better than using alcohol, smoking cigarettes, certainly better than using any of the opiates out there. And I think over time you realize how beneficial this plant is. So once again, I want to thank everybody for listening to me. And I want everybody to have a good day. And thank you so much. Peace and love.